Kendrick appears and gets some motion.
Keep dropping fire shit.
But one man who isn't waiting around for anything like that to happen is Peso. A fellow contributor to the title track, this Mexican MC has been dropping apparently endless singles since the record came out.
Hell
Beyond
yeah.
that, he has reflected on the sessions with K-Dot and what it was like to get acquainted with him.
And then like I did my verse in like 5-10 minutes. Like,
That's dope. So you had a few sessions with Kendrick.
yeah, hell yeah.
And what was that like? Because I know like when Lefty told us about it that he walked in and it's like, it's not straight to work. It's like, what's up with my boy though?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like talking to you, chopping it up. Was that like, you guys had to kind of get like a somewhat of a relationship beforehand?
Yeah. No, we definitely chopped it up. We chopped it up and shit.
Did he tell you what song put him onto you, or what, like when he got put onto you?
Yeah. Since 6 Block, since the first one.
Since 6 Block, he's been watching.
He knew the whole, like, he knew some of the lyrics. He knew about the, like, some of the story.
Yeah.
And that I was telling him when we got home, I'm like, what the f? Like, if he's hearing, like, who else is hearing?
Yeah, you never
It's
know.
crazy.
But
You
even
never
as the
fucking
industry
know.
has pulled him towards new spaces, with performing at Rolling Loud
Hell
and touring
yeah.
dates on the rise, there are signs that Peso isn't necessarily ready for the bright lights. As at the moment, he's still acting like he's entrenched in the street life, giving people the beats in full view of the cameras. However, this might have just been a slip-up, as in other interviews, he has suggested that music is now his path, and that he has no plans to spend any more time in the streets or the pen.
Hell
a guy
yeah.
who, you know, you got that opportunity, ran with it, and have really kind of used that new notoriety, the new attention to your advantage. How much of a like career-changing moment was that?
Well, it was a complete like 360 type. Like I was kind of like falling off track and shit in the hood every day and shit, and I was just kind of like over it, like not over rap, but just like it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't nothing shaking, and then that shit happened, and it was just like a complete 360. I was like off. Like
I gotta take this shit
yeah, I gotta
serious.
take this
What
shit
am I
serious.
doing?
Hell yeah, it was a big ass platform. It was a huge opportunity, that once in a lifetime type. You know,
For sure.
That don't happen. You don't just wake up and hey, Doc wants to get in the studio and shit. So I took it.
Bruh,
took it and ran with it.
It's crazy because I always think about this too. Like with me doing the streaming shit like that, and us doing a podcast and everything that what we're doing. I can't quit because it's exactly like that picture of that dude who's mining and he's so close to getting the diamonds and the jewels that he stops and turns around. Excuse me. I'm not doing it. I can't quit. I'm not going to quit believing in myself. I believe in myself. I know I am going to become more rich. I'm going to become wealthy. I'm gonna be prosperous. I'm sharing my wealth with my family, with the people who need it. I'm sharing my intellect. I'm sharing a lot with the people who are listening and who God deems that deserves it. Not the low vibrational people who just don't want to be woke. But yeah, man, just always believe in yourself. Do what you need to do. Handle your business. Get your bills paid. But also keep that creative spirit open and trust in yourself to get to where you need to be. And trust in God too, in your higher self.
With it, you know, I appreciate it. I'm highly appreciative of it every day that I wake up, and hell yeah, shout out to Dot, man.
For Peso, it appears that the moves he's making now in the wake of the release could conceivably lead him to greatness, as well as a new life for him and his family. But not everyone seems necessarily eager to use their newfound profile to get out of the hood. Instead, some of them are using an increase in X followers to ensure that everyone knows precisely how hard they are. If you didn't know by now, Hiddo J3 is different from the vast majority of artists on the track in that he and Kendrick were well acquainted long before he appeared on GNX. They actually go way back, to the point that the Westside Pyru member was on the cover of Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh,
It's
shit.
a prime example of being serious about your art and craft. And you see that, like, you gotta find a way to brand yourself too. Like, you can't, like, what I'm doing, like, who I'm next to don't dictate how great I am. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, I don't, you know, I love.
Actually, yes, it does. I mean, individually, it doesn't. But you are the sum of your 5 friends. So if you're around some losers, bitch ass niggas, and niggas who don't get no pussy, you're also that. Because of that energy that is surrounding you guys. Now, if you're just by yourself, and no one's truly by themselves, well, except for people who've mastered that, which I'm learning to master it. But unless you're by yourself, every single time, like all the time, you're comfortable with yourself and you doing it out the mud by yourself, that's the only way that who you stand next to can't raise or define your success over you. I want to make sure I said it right.
Like what I'm doing, like who I'm next to don't dictate how great I am.
Yeah. So if you're around a bunch of losers, then you're also going to be a loser because you don't have that same mindset. Versus if you're around a bunch of winners and people who are wealthy and people who are respectful and shit like that, then it does define your success. Maybe not in your book, but it does. Because you will be doing the same thing, getting greater and greater. Y'all be spitting ideas and networking with each other to make more money or get to where you need to be, where you want to be and stuff like that. So I understand what he's saying, but it's also a different perspective as well.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't, I love bro. Like that's, so some things people will say, and yeah, I'ma just entertain, but it ain't, it ain't nothing to put negative on what he doing. He didn't do nothing but make it possible for everybody to have an opportunity. So we gotta acknowledge that. You feel me?
Have you been speaking to Kendrick about the beef throughout all this?
Yes, what's crazy, man, bro. I love bro to where I don't gotta talk to you every day to represent. You know what I'm saying? What you represent. I don't gotta talk to you every day. Like when you see somebody work hard and unlock doors that we don't get access to. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just put more confidence in me and what I'm doing.
And now, Dot is probably wondering if it was the right move after all, now that he has basically turned into the West Coast equivalent of Top 5, a man that has been accused of snitching, no less. Over the past few months, Hida J3 has had a near constant presence on X, chiming in constantly about everything from the Kendrick and Drake beef to anything that he sees as happening on his coast. And while he has continued to rant and antagonize his apparent enemies, people are wondering why he's so obsessed with fulfilling this role when he should be working on his music. And with every tweet, whether it's trying to act as an enforcer or hire a hitman for trolls, it just gets more ridiculous, and the patience for it declines. Who trying to make 5 bands to bash anybody on the net, talking to me for 3 months straight? Meanwhile, his career isn't exactly taking off. For one thing, he tried to interject
Too busy in them streets, not worrying about what you need to be worried about.
himself in the Joey Badass beef with Nas and Black Rob sampling Headshot, but no one was particularly receptive. And even on the track itself, he acknowledged that his feature on a Kendrick project hasn't exactly transformed his life, spitting,
It's your fault.
In all fairness, he's correct. Now 7
That's
months
your
on
fault,
from
bro.
the album's release, he's yet to breach 50K monthly listeners on Spotify.
That's his
and
fault.
if things keep progressing this way, there's a good chance
You're too busy trolling on the net and not focusing on your craft, so that's your fault.
that'll remain the case. Instead, he's kept leaning into the informal role of Kendrick's goon, going into overdrive in the wake of Kendrick's tour dates in Toronto by letting the Canadians know that if anything happened, there would be consequences. And
So for a man who just said that who you're around doesn't define your success, what you just said, it doesn't make sense. Because who you're around doesn't define your success, in your words, then why are you still acting as if you're Kendrick's goon? Shouldn't you be doing your own thing, getting your own wave instead of doing the trolling shit? I wouldn't say trolling shit, but trying to act gangster on the internet. It doesn't. Your shit, what you're saying, is not matching.
in Hida J3's
Or at
case,
least you're
it's
not
clear that there's a ceiling on how much he'll be
putting
able to
your
achieve.
words
But
into
one of the most
action.
high-profile features on the record, appearing on GNX might just be the nudge they need to get right back on track. One of the only 2 West Coast rappers to have a solo #1 hit this decade, K-Dot and Roddy Ricch are in unique company. As the only established artist aside from SZA on the feature list, Roddy's inclusion should have been a massive deal. Or at the very least, would have been several years earlier before he made a string of misfires that meant that he's never been
Wait,
able
was
to
that an
equal
album?
his early run that led to The Box, Ballin', High Fashion, and other major hits. But considering that he's always been inspired by Dot, it's no surprise that linking back up with him might light a fire underneath him.
I had to say Kendrick is definitely another one. No, I never give up on Kendrick. Kendrick is like, you know, his Good Kid, Mad City came out October 22nd, 2012. Know what I'm saying?
Which means?
That was my birthday.
Hello.
You feel me?
Yeah, hello.
That album was real special to me. Just seeing how his career charted and type of person he was and what he do for the city and how he stand on business and how he support us. You know, he listened to Antisocial through and through. You feel me? The day before it came out, pulled up to the studio. We had a real conversation and we just been keeping the conversation open ever since and just been cool with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's another person that I can really...
For Roddy, appearing on another rapper's material has never been something he's taken lightly. In his opinion, it's always been the right fit and makes sense for everyone involved. And with the exception of the occasional rogue pop crossover with Taylor Swift and Maroon 5, this is pretty much how Dot has rolled too.
If you fuck with me and fuck with the vibe I give off, because I'm speaking this from the heart, if you want to come and speak some shit from the heart on some shit that I'm fucking with, let's do that. I'm not about to pay you to do that. And we ain't about to force that vibe on each other. Like, we just gonna let that shit happen organically.
Well, you a rare breed in the game right now, bro. Now you are kind of like gonna get into that position where you're like the it guy and everyone's gonna be on your line for a hook or for a verse. Obviously you're gonna tax them, but like, you know, that's
it ain't
coming.
about the money to me though. It's not about the money, like.
But everybody's gonna be coming out the woodworks trying to get a hook from you, bro.
Bro, I swear I just turned down $100,000 for a feature.
Wow.
It's not about money, like.
But before GNX had ever released, Roddy made it clear that Dot was someone he'd move mountains for. He even canceled his appearance at Paris Fashion Week just to be at the pop-out.
You could have been anywhere in the world, but we made sure we were there. And you say you canceled Paris?
Yeah, Paris Fashion Week, we canceled.
Oh, shoot. Like, Fashion Week is big.
Yeah. You know, we just had plans, and I had talked to Dot. I'm like, man, I spent a lot of money in Paris already. He like, I get it. If you gotta do what you gotta do. And I sat on it for a couple of days. I'm like, man, I can't miss this. I'm like, I can't miss this. You know?
That's Roddy Rich in Paris.
Come on.
That's Fashion Week.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
That's
that's my
loyalty,
bread.
man.
That's my time. That's my shine.
Look, I ain't gonna cap. If Key, Jay, my sister, if they told me if I already had some shit going on and I spent my money and everything, but they was like, hey, show up to this concert and shit like that. I'm like, damn, I just spent all this shit. Why'd you tell me this earlier? You know, hold on. Let me think about it. I'd pull up instantly. It's like, I don't even have to think about it. Of course I'd be there to support them. Yeah, I'll be on stage, nigga. Yeah.
Right.
But for you,
Probably rap a verse or two.
Boom. There's probably not too many things you would have said.
It's bigger than us, man. It's a blessing to just see everybody, you know, and you know, just with everybody from the different communities just being together and being able to fellowship together, even outside of the stage, just backstage, you know what I mean? Being able to shake hands, just see everybody. It's just something you couldn't pay for. It's something you couldn't never recreate.
And soon, he would be rewarded for his loyalty to the coast with his appearance on Dodger Blue, a track which reminded the world just how Roddy...
Oh, he was on Dodger Blue. I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Shit, okay.
He can be when he's at the top of his game.
My favorite Roddy Ricch song that he's collabed with is him and Trippie Redd, Closed Doors.
The Navy album that he has been teasing for
I pop a perky, with it on the addy, doing anything we number four, fucking you and mansion, cricket with inspection, doing anything behind closed doors. I got you Dior, psych.
years, has now been a subject to persistent delays. There's no doubt
told
that
you,
seeing
I
him
can
pop up
sing.
next to K-Dot has renewed faith that he's on the right path once
Oh,
more.
God.
If this rundown teaches us anything, it's that a feature on a marquee project isn't just a big deal in itself, but it's up to you to take the ball and run with it after the fact, and make something special for yourself. Because otherwise, you're going to be left in the dust while Kendrick's train just keeps rolling right past you as he continues to ascend into all-time great status.
Shout out to Lil Waster, man. That shit was a dope ass video. That was cool. That was dope as fuck. Man, see, I might have to switch that one up too. I might have to chop that one up too. Ain't no telling. All right.